Welcome to Rule of Thirds, an offshoot of our Screen Refresh podcast. Our goal every episode is to take a little break from watching and analyzing movies to dive headfirst into some nostalgia or just get a little creative. So every month we select a different topic and create a top 3 list that may or may not be near and dear to each of our hearts. Shoot us a message on Instagram, X, Facebook at Screen Refresh, or shoot an email at screenrefresh@gmail.com to let us know what your top 3 are or to suggest future topics. Today, I'm your host, Nick, and I'm joined by my co-hosts, Dean, David, and Tim.
Good.
Wait, so you mean I can pick a movie that I hate on this?
You can pick anything you want.
It's where that may not really, it opens a lot of doors.
I was like, wait, the may not?
It's the top thing you want to talk about.
I was like, maybe my joke picks aren't joke picks anymore.
So what are we picking, Nick?
They're very real.
What are we doing? We are doing movie adaptations.
Remember, you can pick your friends, but you can't pick your friend's nose.
It was a big like I wondered why the hell Barbie was nominated for that as an Oscar, because it's a movie adaptation. Like, adapted from what? But apparently it being a Barbie doll is enough for it to get that category, which I would have thought it would have been original screenplay, but no, it's an adaptation.
Come on, there's a deep Barbie lore.
If it exists
There's
all in any sense, it's an adaptation.
There are 42 animated Barbie films.
There's a guy on YouTube I follow. I think his name's Ted Nivison.
I was watching that the other day.
It's hilarious. It's so worth it. It's like an hour and a half long.
Hey, how's it going? I did something nobody asked for again. I go into that movie theater without a complete and full understanding of Barbie lore. I'm gonna look like an idiot. I'd be laughed out of the theater, and honestly, I'm not looking for trauma. In order to prepare, I am going to watch every Barbie movie ever made. That way, I will walk out of the theater in July being the greatest expert on Barbie movies that has ever walked the plains of Earth. It's been a while since I've seen Barbie and the Nutcracker, but surely they haven't made too many, so holy crap. There's 42 of them.
He couldn't post this last year because of the strike, but he watched all of them, and he has like a Pepe Sylvia board behind him trying to link all the different movies together. Totally worth watching. It's a long watch, but really awesome. It's hilarious.
There's like a rating rubric for each of the movies.
Who did this?
Ted Nivison, I think his name is.
Is he an actor?
No.
A YouTuber.
Or a writer?
Yeah, just a YouTuber.
Oh.
His thing went viral a while ago with he drove to every Margaritaville and also every rainforest cafe in the continental US.
Yeah, because it was him and his buddy Eddie Burbank, and they ended up doing the same thing, but then you get to watch like from one point of view and then the other point of view, and they're wildly different. So I'm waiting to see if they do another like month-long road trip for this summer.
I think there's like one other big one that I heard of. The other ones would be like Hard Rock or Planet Hollywoods.
Oh, true. Planet Hollywoods I think would be a good one.
Yeah, because they actually have some differences in like what they have and like their swag and stuff. So like that could actually be worthwhile.
So now that everybody has a recommendation for YouTube to go watch after this, I think we established the adaptations can be from anything. So comic books, songs. For some reason, there was a really big thing in the late 70s, early 80s of just like country songs being adapted into entire films.
That would be so boring. It's just the guy in the back of his truck drinking beer as he watches his girlfriend leaving every time. I don't know.
Isn't that just a Chevy commercial? Like,
so, I will. I was gonna say I'm not gonna adapt from a comic book, and then I realized nope, that's top of my list. Never mind. Right out of the gate, I'm gonna say a little Disney adaptation of a comic book called The Rocketeer.
Rated R for rockets.
To some, it was the fulfillment of a dream. To others, it was an instrument of destruction. A creation that could change the course of history.
It was stolen from my factory. Where's the package?
This is the FBI!
What do we tell the president?
Tell me exactly why this merchandise is so important to the feds.
It's a rocket.
A rocket?
What? What's the matter?
I don't know. There's something under the seat.
Oh, my. What do we got here? What are you supposed to do? Is it a bomb or something?
No. I wouldn't touch that if I were you. How do I look? Like a hood ornament. Stand clear. What was that? A flying man!
Oh, I forgot that was a comic.
I will eventually pick The Rocketeer as a screen refresh episode because I've been a long-standing fan of the movie since childhood, but also later in life I started getting into the comics. They are different. Still that kind of fun, pulpy action that you would expect from like a 30s, 40s kind of deal, but they are a bit more adult than the Disneyfied Rocketeer version. Like instead of Jennifer Connelly's character in the movie, I believe it was Betty Page was the female lead in the comics, his girlfriend. So it's like she's not a waitress. It's Betty Page, like the BDSM pinup or whatever it was. But for anybody unfamiliar, it's as the name implies, he's a man with a rocket strapped to his back. And he flies around and he fights Nazis.
Rockets explode.
I mean, it's that classic. I'm not sure when the Rocketeer comic came out, but it's like that classic like 70s comic storyline. What does he do? He fights Nazis. Like, yeah, I mean, all right, everyone can get on board with that.
Yeah, because I think it originated back in, I want to say like the 40s or the 30s.
Oh, so like even like of the time, kind of like old Captain America.
Did they have rockets back then?
They had rocket mans, Dean.
I like how modern movies too are slowly going back to, well, we can't make anything else work. Let's just go back to killing Nazis again.
I mean, who doesn't? I mean, we'll come back full circle. We'll do the Nazis, then we'll do zombies again, and then we'll struggle, and then we'll do it again. And
also, I was wildly wrong. So it's an homage to the 30s through 50s. It was 1982 that the comic debuted.
All right, so rockets were well established.
So, yeah. But they weren't in the normal zeitgeist of America because October Sky didn't get released yet.
I mean, I will say, though, I think we had Commander Cody by that point, which I don't expect anyone to know Commander Cody because Commander Cody was an old, I want to say probably 1950s movie serial.
I'll say it sounds like an action figure.
That's one of the popular clones from Star Wars also.
I was actually turned on to Commander Cody because he used to run, his serial used to run as shorts in front of the old Mystery Science Theater 3000 episodes in like the first 3 seasons, where they used to run a short and then the movie, and it was usually Commander Cody, and it was amazing. But yeah, he was also a man with a rocket pack.
More things need to start running shorts before movies again.
Right?
Hear me, AMC theaters. I don't want 45 minutes of trailers before. Give me like a 10-minute short film.
Whenever I'm like, go to a movie now, it's like, I'm talking to my wife. If she's not coming with me, it's like, okay, it says it starts at 8:30, so it won't start till about 8:55.
Yeah.
So then I do the time from that.
And with the advent of assigned seating, it really doesn't matter anymore. The movie's at 7:30. Show up at 8, and then just, all right, I'm here now. Let's go.
Yeah, I mean, I think when we saw Dungeons and Dragons, you got stuck in traffic. You were like 25 minutes late, and you were still sitting down and got to finish the trailers before the movie.
Yep.
So, yes, The Rocketeer. Go watch the film. We'll cover it eventually. But if you're looking for that classic, fun, like just two-fisted American good old guy from, I forgot where they were supposed to take place. He was like the Midwest or something. And then just punching out Nazis and solving all of this subterfuge and all of this stuff while just wearing a absolutely iconic helmet.
True.
It's why I carry a pack of Beeman's chewing gum all the time, is because
You do not.
The Rocketeer.
I've never seen you carry gum with you once.
They started
Don't
selling it
gaslight
again.
He's painting a false
the audience.
image of himself for the
They
audience.
started selling it again. I don't know, maybe like 10 years back or something, because from The Rocketeer, I was always looking for Beeman's, and then I don't know if it was some sort of weird, like the kids who watched it are old enough to buy things now, but Beeman's ended up coming back out that now you can buy it again. It's not in stores, but you can buy it online. So I used to just order like cases.
I have to say, I'm really not a fan of The Rocketeer, and that's because I haven't seen it.
Oh.
So
Wow.
I'm not yet a fan. So whenever you choose it, It'll be a
Dean,
treat.
to
I'm
know
sure.
The Rocketeer is to love it. You're about to know The Rocketeer.
Dean, there's two types of people in this world. There's people that love The Rocketeer, and then just people who haven't seen it yet. So
Yeah.
I look forward to that month when it's chosen.
And then go play the classic PC game that was super difficult because I didn't know how to use a joystick as a child.
I played the Nintendo one. That one was horrible.
Yeah.
I think I got
it's
the
not
rocket
good.
like once.
I won't
like-
defend that.
That's like half games from our childhood. It's like I played this game, but it was too hard because I was small and I didn't understand games.
So that's my pick.
Great pick.
Okay, who's
good pick.
next?
What a pick. I'm going to speak.
Dean's turn.
I have spoken. Yeah, I was going to do a comic book. At first I was like, I mean, there's so much shit has been adapted that you do and don't know about, but I was like, I guess I should choose something I know both versions. So that slimmed it down. But I'm going to talk about briefly in a few minutes Cormac McCarthy's book No Country for Old Men was adapted by the Coen brothers in 2007 into a Best Picture winning film. And I think it deserved it. I think it's an awesome movie.
I was sheriff of this county when I was 25 years old. Grandfather was a lawman, father too. The crime you see now, it's hard to even take its measure.
We're out a bunch of money and the other party is out his product.
Willin, what's in the satchel?
It's full of money. I'm looking for Llewellyn Moss.
Do you want to leave a message?
Yes.
Did it win adapted screenplay?
I hope so. You know what's funny? Like, I think Cormac McCarthy, this book was published 2 years earlier in 2005, and I think he wrote it as a screenplay originally. Like, that's how the story started, but then he novelized it first. But I assume it got the Coens. I didn't do a deep dive on it's the backstory, but I assume they got wind of the story or something early on, because just 2 years later the movie was in theaters. Starring that guy, damn, I keep forgetting
Josh
his,
Brolin?
No, yes. Yes, he does star in the movie.
Javier Bardem?
Javier Bardem as one of the creepiest, like, stone cold villains or antagonists, maybe rather, in any movie.
Borderline the Terminator in that film.
Yeah,
based only on his abilities alone to just stalk and kill people so effortlessly.
It's like the challenge of like, oh, would you take $1 million, but you have a slug that follows you for the rest of your life, and if it touches you, like, you die. That's essentially Anton Chigurh in No Country for Old Men. Is just he is always coming, no matter what.
That's my motto in life.
Oddly enough, a movie that I saw 17 times in theaters.
Wow, that is a lot of times.
Because my friend in high school worked at a theater and they were closing down. So at that time, it was just like, nobody cares, just come in. So for like a month after school, we would just be like, let's just go to the theater and just see stuff. So we saw There Will Be Blood and No Country for Old Men so many times.
Just quoting those movies. That one also could have won Best Picture if they weren't released in the same year. But,
I mean, I still will occasionally walk around and like say friendo to people because of him.
David actually walks around with the pressurized cattle gun.
That too, but like I don't talk about that one as much.
Yeah, I don't think before or since has that kind of weapon ever been wielded by somebody, and at least not.
It picked up popularity once It Part 1 came out.
I was really confused as to what it was for like half the movie. I was just like, what is this? It's like a shotgun powered by not nitrous oxide.
Is it a power sprayer?
It's like,
he's power washing that guy to death.
He just shot a deadbolt lock out of the door. What is this thing?
This is one of those movies. Oh, go ahead.
No, it's like a gun version of that stiletto thing from X-Files, but what?
I have no idea what that is.
Yeah, most people won't. What were you saying?
Only cool people. This is the adaptation, I think, omits or changes very little. It's like almost, as close to a 1-to-1 as you're going to get, I think, in a lot of movies. And not that a movie should slavishly like try to do what the book does on screen, but I think the book was it's a pretty quick read, so it's short enough so you don't have to cut it for time essentially. But yeah, I mean, it brought, I think it's one of those ones where I heard there was a movie coming out, it was based on this book, and the book was popular, and I was like, oh, I'll get the book and read it. And then so I read it before it came out, and I was like, yeah, it was pretty much what I was seeing in my head. Like they did in a good way. Not that it's like they weren't unimaginative making it, but yeah, it was well acted, well directed, well written. I mean, it came from a great story, so they really just had to cast it properly to not fuck it up, and they did a great job.
I think a lot of people that I knew around the time were disappointed with the movie just because they felt like it built up to nothing. And after the 10th time watching the film, I think I really appreciated it. That it's not about like building up to some big crescendo. It's sometimes just the chaos of life in all of these places.
Yeah, and not coincidence, but randomness, and I mean, especially symbolized by like Anton Chigurh seeing himself as like a fate kind of person, and all your choices in your life have led you up to meeting him, and like things can hinge on something as small as a coin toss, and like
I know. I also really appreciated the shift of perspective, because like for me, it wasn't until like the final scene with it's Tommy Lee Jones, right?
Yeah,
who plays the like sheriff, and they have that final scene with him where he's just like looking out the window, and he's just, I forget how he phrased it, but like how he's just gonna retire because like this is no country for old men, and just like that.
He just says that one line.
He just chops the line. But that's kind of what it sums up to. And I like that shift in perspective, that like the movie isn't really about the events. It's like about how like time and this place is passing him on. And it's just like a really cool perspective shift at the end, that like, oh, like this is how we're gonna like finish that.
Yeah. That like all the stuff happening with Josh Brolin and happened with Anton Chigurh and all of that is just, it's incidental to anything else. It's just, no, that's just the catalyst for springing all this along. But realistically, it's just about him feeling like I'm out of it these days. Like, that's it. I'm done. Like that was the final straw.
You go from like this big, like, mob style, like thievery kind of storyline to like this big, like all of a sudden, like parsed down, super personal, like drama. And it's just like, it really just like, yeah, just really hyper focuses the whole idea of the movie at the end. And it's like, oh, all right.
I am disappointed that we didn't get an actual big battle with Josh Brolin and Javier Bardem at the end. And then Josh Brolin like puts a gun to his head and he's like, sorry, sugar free, and then kills him.
You should have killed me when you had the chance. And then he snaps his finger and then.
Wait, sugar free?
Because his name's Anton Chigurh.
Anton Chigurh.
Oh, it's Chigurh.
With Tim's joke. Okay, I'll see myself up.
Anton Chigurh. Great. It's a masterful movie. Go and see it if you haven't. Read the book too. I will not be picking this for the show.
It's too upper class for us.
It's too late. I was 19. It's over. We can't talk about nostalgic 19.
You need to talk
old.
about more childhood Coen Brothers movies like Blood Simple.
Yeah,
I think we can probably open up our 20s once we hit 40.
yeah, maybe that's it. It's like it's a rolling window of time.
By the time we get to our 40s, we'll probably have covered enough of this stuff anyway.
I'm done. My pick is over. It's time for new blood.
Dean's pick is over. It's time for my pick.
The
No, I
old
feel
pick is dead. Long live the pick.
I was saying we're getting so structured. It's starting to feel like a 5-paragraph essay format. It's like firstly, secondly, lastly, in conclusion. So my pick is I think unpopular opinion, but I like unpopular opinions when they're positive. So I'm going with it.
Wait, the unpopular opinion is the positive one?
Yeah.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, it's like when people do like, oh, what an unpopular opinion, and it's usually them like hating on something that's really popular.
I got you.
I prefer it when it's like something people don't like, but I like.
The M. Night Shyamalan Avatar movie.
Or they say unpopular opinion, but it's clearly like hey, I may be an unpopular opinion, but Jaws was a good film. And it's like, of course Jaws is a good film.
It's like, no,
I'm not giving you Reddit gold for that.
So my pick is is this a bit nostalgia? The 2006 Silent Hill film.
You know, I like it.
I liked it too.
Honey, sometimes when you go to sleep, you go on a little walk, and sometimes you talk about a place.
I don't remember.
That's why we're gonna go there, so you can remember.
Where is she? I'm trying to find my wife.
She looks exactly like Sharon.
Why?
Rose, come on! Rose, hurry! It's coming!
So as someone who was a huge fan of the Silent Hill series, the PlayStation 2 era, although I kind of got into the series backward because I started with Silent Hill 4 The Room, which everyone says is the worst Silent Hill game, but I really liked, and then that inspired me to go play the older ones.
Where Pyramid Head says, "You're tearing me apart."
So like, I got started on Silent Hill The Room, which everyone's like, oh, that's the worst one, but to me it's my favorite because it was my first. And
well, it's only up from there.
Yeah, so I'm like, oh, great, I'm doing well. And then I see the movie, and I'm like, oh, I love the movie. But most Silent Hill fans are like, the movie's terrible. I'm like, just give it to me. Just give it to me. But yeah, the Silent Hill 2006 movie was interesting because it kind of tried to create a story that was an amalgamation of the different game stories in a way that I thought still really worked. Now, like, with the Silent Hill games, a lot of the idea behind them is that like the main character is plagued by very specific ghosts and monsters that are tailored to whatever their, bad thing happened to them or they did in life. And the Silent Hill movie doesn't really go on that as much. Instead, it kind of uses the Silent Hill as the framework. What I really appreciate about the movie, though, is that it got the tone so well.
Yeah, that it's not like a plot adaptation so much as like a thematic and feeling adaptation.
Yeah, like the tone was spot on. I thought it felt like it had that whole like dread mixed with trauma that like Silent Hill really tries to go for. Like the sets were perfect. The monster design was amazing. Some of the actors who were in the monster suits had a real hard time. There was one specifically that was a monster that had no arms, couldn't see, and it was just basically a torso with legs and like this kind of acid dripping moth thing. And I just remember some of the behind the scenes stuff reading about it, where it's like a full like latex body suit, but since there's no head openings at all, they had to run tubes into the actor's mouth, and then the tube ran down their entire body and out their ankle so that they could breathe. And that just terrifies me. That like your breathing relies entirely on this little tube in your mouth, and hope nothing bad happens with that.
They realized the actor was claustrophobic when they K1 on set.
And like,
wow, they really evoke those screams of Silent Hill.
So like, you have actors who are really like monster suits, really giving them all, like they had contortionists who were doing a lot of the monster work. So like they really put a lot of thought into it. I mean, you also, starring Sean Bean, whose name should rhyme but doesn't, who did really, really well in it.
So that means you either want Sean Bean or Sean Bon?
I mean, look at the way it's written. It should be Sean Bean or Sean Bon, but it's neither.
I'm just saying, if anything, the MVP of that movie is Laurie Holden as Sybil Bennett. I loved the cop in that.
Yeah, she also had a very like Terminator 2 cop vibe. Like she was hard edged in the for the first 2/3 of the movie. She was so hard edged and like really gave off that vibe, especially with like the reflective, like the metallic reflective sunglasses on.
Yeah, and like the motorcycle helmet and the leather police biker thing.
I wonder if that's what got her the role in Walking Dead.
Oh, I didn't realize she was in it.
Yeah, she was pretty big in the first few seasons, but I don't remember when Walking Dead started versus when this might have started. I don't know.
But yeah, I thought they got the tone really right. They had to mix the storylines a little bit and the timelines a little bit, but I thought it still worked and made sense and had a huge, awesome payoff at the end. Like the final like monster or villain encounter was pretty scary and super violent. And it's one of those movies that I think that although it's like a quote unquote horror movie, it's more of what I call a spooky movie, where it's like it's scary in tone but not in action. So like if you're someone who doesn't like scary movies or like gets even squeamish around gore or anything, like it's something you can still watch and get like scary vibes but not have like nightmares or any like scary feelings.
David, I believe those are called suspense.
Yeah, but it's monsters and ghosts.
I mean, also Pyramid Head does rip a person's entire skin.
I was just gonna say, isn't somebody
in
degloved
one pull
in their entirety?
Yeah, like degloves an entire body, or somebody that is just like roasted like a kebab over a fire.
Yeah, but it's not like gross gore. It's from afar and it's quick and like what happens, but you're not like, oh, I see everything.
Okay.
It's a spooky movie. It's no gore. Not that much gore. Maybe there's a little. Anyway, that's my pick.
How did you like? Did you watch the sequel?
I did. I did not like it at all.
That's the one with Kit Harington, right?
Yeah, Jon Snow was Jon Snowing it up.
Yeah.
It did have some interesting monster design in that, because if I recall, there's like some sort of spider type creature that has like porcelain masks and all of this.
It felt like they were trying to do. So like Silent Hill went for like a whole encompassing Silent Hill vibe, and I thought Silent Hill 2, the movie, basically tried to do Silent Hill 2, the game story specifically, but like didn't quite get there. I don't know. It didn't. I thought Kit Harington's acting in it was really distracting.
I mean, 2 was a mess entirely.
Yeah, I thought Kit Harington was kind of distracting. I don't think he like melded well into it. Yeah, so for me that one I wasn't a big fan of, but the 2006 one I really enjoyed and still occasionally will pop in and watch. It kind of hits that rotation of like Event Horizon for me.
It has been a while since I've seen it. I did
Maybe
like
we'll
it.
pick it.
I think
I never had anything against it. Yeah. Well, my pick is a lot different than that to end it with, because I'm going the SNL route, and I was really torn between the two, but since I feel one of them is probably going to be brought up at one point, I'm going to go with the other option, and I'm going to say Coneheads.
They have come from the cold, far reaches of space.
Roger, TACOM. Unidentified aircraft.
To conquer our world.
Request permission to fire.
And to enslave our people forevermore.
He's disappeared.
That is, until the Balthark hit the spinning Krynor.
Greetings. I seek a techno-industrial complex where I might obtain 2 or 3 semnuts of platinum paste.
This time of night, huh?
This is the story of 2 aliens, Beldar and Primat.
You're scrubbed good. I have 3 radiated leftover starch discs.
Ah, pizza. I will enjoy it.
Do not sear the top of your neck hole.
For them, it was a chance
That
to build.
I forgot that was based on a
didn't
sketch.
cross my mind that it adapted from a sketch.
I almost said Wayne's World. But I have a really good feeling at some point that one will probably be brought up in its own episode. And I try to pick things that may not get its own episode for these specifically, because I don't want to fill 2 hours of air with Coneheads. But if the viewers want it, let us know. But I always enjoyed it as a kid, and I never really watched SNL during that time frame where Dean Aykroyd was, doing the skits every week. But watching the movie, I remember it coming out. It was on HBO. I watched it a ton because they played it like nonstop. And I've always really liked it. And then rewatching it as an adult recently, I think I watched it like a couple months back. I think it kind of still holds up. And it was still pretty funny to see.
It's a good ass movie. There's some scenes in there that like really stick with me. Like I still remember him, Dan Aykroyd, in like the dentist's office where they're like open wide for the mask and his mouth opens so unnaturally wide they just kind of like shove the mask in his mouth.
Yeah, and he's got like the rows of shark teeth basically.
Yeah.
I just remember even as a kid being really sad during the Kodachrome montage of just like, oh, the home videos of the family and they're playing Kodachrome over it. And I'm like, I don't know why. I'm 9 years old and I'm sad or nostalgic right now. I haven't lived long enough to be nostalgic, but I am.
The good old days of last year.
It's true.
I completely space on the fact that was an SNL sketch. Like, but like I'm like you, like I didn't watch SNL at that time period, which I mean, I'm sure Dan Aykroyd was phenomenal on SNL at that. I mean, it was an incredible cast from what I've seen in like YouTube.
There's a lot
clips.
there's a lot of cameos in it too, and only in the sense that a lot of the actors from SNL that eventually would become much bigger in name weren't yet. So, I mean, aside from seeing like Sinbad, he's like the shop owner in the beginning. Like Adam Sandler makes an appearance. Chris Farley makes an appearance.
Oh, right. Chris Farley's like the boyfriend, right?
Right.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of other notable SNL alumni in that movie. But just at the time when it came out, like, who the hell is this guy? Like, I don't know. And Adam Sandler's bit is like not even 2 minutes long. And it's still one of the funniest things because it's him giving, what's his name? Dan Aykroyd, his false identity.
Some fireworks show.
I'm going to have to watch that again. It's been a while. Yeah.
We should pick this at some point because I'm only remembering bits and pieces like a fever dream.
Yeah, I don't know if I've seen it start to finish. I think it's one of those Comedy Central, turn it on and here's this scene and next time you catch that scene. I don't think I've seen it start to finish.
And the first half the first quarter is so much different versus the rest of the movie once he kind of establishes himself as an Earth resident versus in the beginning when he's still very clearly an alien.
Like, for some reason, I think for years, I just kept turning it on during the fight with the monster of some sort, and he has, like, the slingshot with the rock.
Mm-hmm.
Which, if you asked me as a kid, I would think that this was literally just a sketch that consisted of only that scene. And
around in, like, whitey tighties with just, like, a stick with a rock on it. I think Michael McKean was in it, too.
Yeah, David Spade.
Yep.
Oh, man. All the players of the time.
Phil Hartman. World War II's my favorite war.
It's not a bad Phil Hartman. It's good.
So good pick, Nick.
Thank you. I try. I don't have the outro.
We just all yell bye at the same time.
Okay, bye.
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 Wrong
Wrong outro.
Oh, yes. There we go. It's all coming back to me.
Rule of thirds. And that concludes our episode of most memorable. What do we talk about?
The irony of most memorable by following it with, what was it?
And that concludes our episode of most memorable movie adaptations. So remember, you can reach us all on the big social media sites at Screen Refresh, or email us at screenrefresh@gmail.com so we can hear what your top 3 choices would be, or any other topics you'd want to hear us talk about. So for Tim, Dean, David, and myself, this is Nick. You can you take care of yourself, and you can catch us next on Screen Refresh, airing every first Monday of the month, and also our sister podcast, Don't Open This Podcast, every second and fourth Monday of the month.
Uh-huh.
Radio.
I always think of the take care of yourself as like, drink enough water, get a solid 8 hours. If you work at a desk job, get up and walk around every so often.
Schedule a session with a mental health professional.
Yep. Do you have a PCP? Do you need a PCP?
If you're old enough, I don't know, to remember
Message Screen Refresh
rotary
on
telephones,
X.
it's time for your next colon check. It's probably too young.